Hello and welcome back to Transport's Fever 2, the UK modded series. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video as some carriages go out of sight because of LOD distances. And there goes the locomotive as well. So we just have a little puff of smoke. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me in today's video. Last time out, I was creating this bypass loop that tucks underneath the main line and pops up after that road towards the top. Well, not really top right, but in the upper right quadrant. That main road, it pops up just behind that, goes through the freight yard, the goods yard that is on the south side of Berwick, and then ends up in the marshalling yard, which is where it was going in the first place. Now that is there to try to help ease some of the congestion around Berwick Station, and it reduces, though it only takes 2 trains off the track, those 2 trains are quite frequent, so they do cause trouble more often than not. Now, I have received some comments about this, and thank you to all of those who did comment. So, one comment was remembering or reminding me that this is the year 1930, and therefore there may not be that many tunnels. Cuttings were more common. True, very true. Although we did have the London Underground. So this is in response to a question that I had as to how long should this tunnel be? Currently it is half a mile long. Do I want to put some more cuttings in and somehow shorten the tunnel? It is something to consider though. 1930 there might have been more cuttings than tunnels, so I'm going to think about that. Another comment that I'd like to address is a comment in which there was a question about why did I not go over the top and instead chose to go underneath and tunnel. And the reason for that is because off camera, before I made the video, I did attempt to take it over the top of the trains, of the railway. And it was pretty tight, if not impossible, to bring it up with a gentle enough slope that it would not cause issues with the branch line itself, which is where it used to originally go. So I would have to redesign the branch line in order to have that bridge working. Also, when the train is coming back, it is coming uphill. That is when the train is the lightest because it is unladen. When it is going to the marshalling yard, it is full of bricks, so I thought it might be a better idea to have the downhill section when it is full of bricks to maximise the acceleration, and leave the uphill section for when it is unladen and it is not actually encumbered with the bricks. So that was my reasoning. That was my reasoning for that. In today's video, I am going to be starting to set up, because I think this might take a couple of videos, starting to set up the power station over in Downham Market, and this power station is going to be responsible for providing power to a lot of the map. It may not look the most realistic when it comes to power lines and the like, but I'm going to try my very best. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started, and let's see if I can get this power station up and some railways going to it, because we are going to need to get a lot of coal to Downham Market. So my chosen location for this power station is right here on the banks of the river. What is closer, Stratford or? It's definitely not Stratford. Stratford's way out there. Okay, so since Berwick is close and it is called Berwick upon Tweed, let us assume this is the River Tweed. Yes, that is what we're going to assume. So on the banks of the River Tweed is where I'm going to place the new industry. Now, I have 2 options here. I can either place it as an industry and then have it require whatever code it needs to, or I can place it as an asset, and if I look for Battersea, there it is, I do not want the pig, there's the assets for Battersea Power Station. So these are my two options. I think it might be better for me to place it like this and then sort it out afterwards. Now I need to figure out what the orientation of it is going to be, because I see no door on this one. I think putting it like this is probably the best way. That pig is somewhat annoying, but there we go. Right, placing it something like this is going to be my best option, and I will push it a little bit further back and closer to the bridge. So then in that case, this is Battersea Bridge, and I'll place it, shall we say, about there. Let's go about there. Now, obviously, it is floating at the moment, but that is not a problem. What I'm then going to do is use the bulldozer to get all of the possible trees in the area and remove them. There we go. That is now clear. Then what I need to do is I need to select this area, get the terrain tools and do a flatten in this area. So from here, is it from there? Sure. From there, this entire area needs to be flattened to be the same height. So I'll start like that, and then I will, let's build up a little bit more, and we'll pop it in something along these lines. I'll do some smoothing at the end, but for now that is what we are going to have. Now, because of this height, this cliff that we've put in, I have added another mod called key walls. Now, I'm not sure if that is going to, how that is going to show up. There it is, key wall. Excellent. So, what I can then do, is, as you can see, is I can work on trying to figure out how to best build this wall. It says, and we're probably going to use it in curved mode, which does mean this bit might end up changing somehow. So I'm going to have to have a look at how I do that. But for now, I'm going to try and build this in such a way. Well, that is not what I wanted. Has that built it backwards or something? It has. Well, rubbish. I should have known that, because I should have done faces right. There we go. And we'll do that. Now, I might end up deleting this, but that is going to be one of the walls for this, and then I can maybe, just maybe, I should lower this a little. If I lowered it to down here, that might be a better idea. Okay, got an idea. I'm going to very carefully try and lower this down. So Terrain tools lower. Very weak. Well, that apparently was... Do you know what? That seems like a reasonable... That seems like a reasonable height. Slightly too high still. Just a touch. So I can always just... There we go. Perfect. And I will go ahead and clean up. I'll clean up the mess afterwards. But that is the new height of this. Now I know it does create that cliff on the opposite side, but we will deal with that. And I will maybe do that and try and smooth some of this bit out. Come on. It's not quite gone to plan. Oh dear. It has not quite gone to plan. I will clean it up. There we go. That has cleaned up much nicer than I was expecting, and now I can just be a little bit more careful with how I actually flatten this and not be too much of a muppet about it. There we go. So I've already pressed it up on the other side. It's okay. Oh, I've done it again. It is a little difficult. Oh no, that's all wrong again. There. That will, I think, do. Okay. Now we'll put the power station in. And so I will use, instead of this, I'm actually going to use the asset for the power station. Because I think it will work out a little bit better for me. So if I place it... Let me place it this way. I think this way might... Which way would look a little bit... Which way would look better? Trying to think about... Would that actually be the better option? Maybe? Let's do that. Let's do that. There we go. Okay. So that is the power station in. Now, of course, we have to work out all the infrastructure around it. But before I do that, I would like to smooth this out. I might end up straightening some of these bits, of course, or flattening more of it, because the railway needs to come in. So I'm thinking I could have train tracks all along here. I think that might be a really good option, is to have train tracks all the way along, in which case I should have probably made this key longer. Now that also gives me an idea of where I need this train line to be, because as you can see it is below the level of the other train line, so this train line is at 49.7. Down here it is going to be 15.3. Now that is a big deal. If we look at this train line here, 52.6. That is going to be that is a big downhill section. Okay. That is going to be interesting. Let's put a 20 mile per hour track in just to test. do that. So if I were to keep this flat, where would this want to go? Down here. I wonder if it would be... I wonder if it would be a good idea to... Right, what is the height of this? 35. I think this might be the best option. I think that is... The option has been settled for us already. Now that does mean I need to rework this road before I do anything, but peeling off from here and then going off in this direction is going to be the option of choice, I would think. So let me see how I can do this. Now I could get this to... That would stay down. If I get this to go out in this direction... And then straight across here, and this is where this bit will change because this should already be up. And then after that, it will have to cross and somehow end up there, and that is where maybe some of the difficulty will start coming in. But that's as a train line to send coal in is not too bad. And I'll probably get it to loop in a certain way. Let me sort out the line first. So the main connection has been interrupted. Of course it has. That is not an issue. We'll work on the bridge in a moment. Come on. Okay. So, at this point... This bridge was at some level. Did that and joined up there at 3.9. Here we're at 19.7. And up here we are at 20... Yes, this is good. This is actually good. So, new bridge going in. Let's go ahead and build it. So at this point, what we want to do is keep that flat. Yes, that is... No. Yes, no, yes. There we go. Keep that flat. So that is now at 23.3. That is okay. And... Please tell me that wants to bridge immediately. It does. Good. And now we can create our bridge. So we will have... If we do that, somehow that road has actually ended up curving for us, which is unusual, but it has done it. Use the bridge that I tend to use for this sort of stuff, which is that one. Now we'll sort out any height problems in a few moments, but what I want to do is, realistically, I probably want this to... There we go. So let me push that back somewhat, up to there. Good. And let me do that. I'll then break that bridge, but now I know exactly where it's supposed to go, so I can just make it go right the way across. Hold flat. The bridge is high enough, tall enough for vehicles to, or ships to go under. That is something I have been looking into off camera, making sure all the bridges are suitable. We'll do that. And then curve it in. Try and keep it as a bridge. There we are. Now it isn't the best, but I think for now that will work, and I'm sure I can manage. I can make this work, right? And what I need to do with this is, instead of having it there, I will curve it in a little more aggressively. I need to consider the length of this too. So, are we just going to have trains of that distance going through? I'm not sure. We'll work it out in time. That is not the angle I want. Well, actually, no, it is, because this curves a little bit more like that. There. And then we should be able to get, oh dear, we should be able to get right underneath this. Which apparently it does not want me to do. But it is possible. There you go. It is possible. It is not ideal. It is far from ideal. Oh dear. Right. What if I put it down here? It's at 3. That is going to be one big climb. As a test, again, a lot of this is testing. So let's do that. Break this section. And then immediately have a turn going upwards. Okay. It could work. It could work. That's at 12. I'll break this. I have to connect it here somewhere. Or not. Ooh. I have not seen a too much slope error in a very, very long time. Okay. Maybe it will not work. So, what do I do? What do I do then? Do I lift all of this? Make it slightly taller, and therefore I can have the railway. I can have the railway there regardless. Can I have the railway there? I can. Trains would fit there too. That is quite a difference between the lines. This is up at 7. That is down at 3. Could I have the line here? I could. Could I have the line here? This might be tempting fate a little. I think here. This looks the best. Yes. This is where I'm going to put that line instead. Okay. So now it is at 10 as opposed to 3. Then after that, if I can get this to immediately start climbing. No. Keep climbing. Now, what is it at this point? 17. And it will cross, and it will actually cross the road properly when this becomes a road. keep it. That's not the angle I want. That was the angle I wanted. It still says too much slope, but it is no longer an impossibility. It is just very, very steep. Okay. Suggestions. Is that not ideal? Is that far from ideal? Please let me know, because I'm not entirely keen with that or on that. What I might do is... oh, it's not going to happen either. Okay, this is a problem. This is truly a problem. Well, comment whether that is worth it, or what is the better way for me to do that. In the meantime, whilst I'm thinking about that, and probably will do that in the next video, let me see where exactly I can place a station. So of course I'm going to be using... am I going to be using a warehouse? Ooh. These are all ones that I've not really considered. Right. I just want to have a look at this one. It is not... well, include perimeter walls, no. Electric track, no. Terminus, yes. Gantry crane, yes. Let's see what that does. I do not have that asset. Okay. This is a bit new, bit too new for what I want. Anyway, this one is the one I'm more interested in. I've used this one before, but I'm definitely interested in potentially using it again alongside Battersea. The bricks are very similar. The bricks are very, very similar. Or I can create one just like that. Yes, but maybe I should do that. Let me do that. So I'll put... which one is it? Cargo. Okay, there is also this option, because this is on the key side. But no, this is not that one. This is what I'm thinking of. That's how you get coal from wagons to ships. Well, that is... no, we'd probably want the opposite way around. Anyway, this is what I'm after. I will go for... let's go for 250 meters. And I guess I could tuck it in here, just because... I suppose tucking it in there is a good idea. We can have 10 mile per hour track, 3 of them. 3 will fit quite nicely here. In theory, you could fit 4. Might be able to tuck a 4th in, but I think 3 is the best option there. Or do I want to tuck it in? Now, let me do that. Then what I want to do is that only connects? Sure. Let me do that. So that is now tucked in properly. And we will probably need to extend the key walls. Oh, why does it do that? I did not type 5, so there we go. We'll extend the key walls from here. Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to rebuild that entire wall set then. Let's rebuild the key walls. Because I can. What is going on there? Oh, right. No stepping. Why is it doing that? No adjust. Maybe no step and no adjust. Would that do something? Maybe. Here we go. So I could just do an entirely straight section like that. There. So that's the key walls, and we'll use this to clear. Let's clear this area here of all trees. There we are. Better. So that is that. Then what I can do is I can actually work on moving these out, or moving these tracks where I need them to be. Let's put these tracks up to 40 miles per hour. This is all going to be embankment. No bridges for us right now. That's embankment track there, which then hooks up like that, and of course I can build this up as and when necessary. Then what I need to do is somehow I need to make sure that we have the industry for the coal going in, so that's going to be freestyle industry. I am going to say that this is just an input. There is going to be nothing being outputted from here because, well, how do you output power to give to other places? So that is what I'm going to do. Unless we can say it burns coal and generates something else for... No, it'd just be rubbish, wouldn't it? 10 times the input amount. We could have 250 employees. Stockpiles can be massive. And what I'm going to try and do is get it so that it somehow manages to hook up to this whilst still being somewhat visible so that I can click it. There we go. So that is going to require a lot of coal. And that is exactly what I want. Here we need to do some more flattening very carefully again. To be incredibly careful. There we are. All the way along. It's really, this bit is really annoying. Because for some reason the railway does not wish to have any flattening around it. And this sort of works because I could smooth this part in. Yeah, that is annoying. So I'm going to get rid of that. And then flatten it. And after the flattening is done, push this bit a little. Then I'm going to put the track back in, exactly where it was. In fact, looking at that, I think we can add a fourth. Oh, well, okay. Push that along a little. There we are. 4 tracks. Good. So we have that. Now I am going to, of course, similar to the steel mill, which I'll show you right now. I'm going to do something similar to this. So there's going to be areas like this, some sidings, where we can place some wagons. And perhaps not quite as complicated, just in the interests of time, but certainly something along those lines. So let me go ahead and build some of that bit right now. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll pop these down to 10. Realistically, I don't think any train will be using these. In fact, what am I doing? The way I did this to make it really easy for me was I created them like this and then just hooked things up onto them. So there we go. Do I want to do that, or do I just want to do it the other way? Think about this. Let me just do it this way. This is fine. Now, one thing I will point out is that how are these trains supposed to... So how are they supposed to turn around? I'll deal with that perhaps a little later, maybe push things back a little or something. That is something I do need to consider. But for now, I'm just going to build some of these. That's just going to sit like this. In fact, realistically, what I should have done is built them in line with that, because it makes it a little bit easier to handle. Let me do that instead. So if I build these like this... It's interesting how I managed to build it the other way, but for some reason it's not letting me do it this way. Strange. Oh, this is letting me do it now. How odd. How very odd. Right, so these ones are going to go. And I'll leave those ones. Then I will probably have one that is a little bit more... something along these lines. There we go. Maybe have actually connect that up a couple of times to... Should we have a third? Let's have a third, shall we? There, we have 3 like that, 1 like that. Maybe this one can disappear. And is it able to do that? Possibly. So I'm going to make a straight line like this, straight line like this, and then say, hey look, you could do that, you can do that, oh, you can do that, or do that. For same connection, you can do that. Okay, so we have something. And then also, this is where, let's say we'll have a shed. Well, I say a shed, this is just where I'll put a couple of engines. Just tuck them in right here, shall we? That is a really bad angle. That is how I want those engines to... That's how I want that to be. Okay, and we'll try this again. What did I get rid of? The wrong one, that's for sure. Can I get this to tuck in somewhat differently? Maybe that. And you know what? That is not too bad. So, now that that bit is done, perhaps I need to figure out how I'm going to get the rest of this properly sorted out. So in fact, I think it might be wise for me to just do this. Just have one that goes like this, and then this connects up like that, and like that. That looks a little bit more realistic, in my opinion. Similar for this, I'll say maybe have one that does something like this. And please do leave the comments. Leave a comment, to say the comments as if it is a definitive thing. No, leave a comment letting me know what your suggestions are about this, because naturally your suggestions might be far better than mine. Or my ideas, your ideas might be far better than my ideas, full stop. Okay, that looks decent. And just because I am a little bit short on time, I still have a little bit of time before for my recordings, but because I'm a little bit short on time, I am going to be ending this video fairly soon. I'm just going to break all of this. There we are, and yes, I need to figure out what to do here. This is going to be an interesting one. Now I could start dropping it so it does not descend as quickly here. Oh, I have a terrible idea. So I have a terrible idea that I'm about to try. Which may not work in the slightest. It is dropping, but certainly not fast enough, because it drops through this whole thing. Unless I were to lift this bridge again, because I'm fairly sure I've done that before. Yes, because at this point it is not anywhere low enough, not anywhere near low enough to be able to do what I wanted to do. So that is not suitable. I still think the best option is going to be to do something along these lines. But the question is just what? If I lift this up, how much more room do I have? What's DS? So if I were to lift this up, it does give me a lot more room. Ooh. was a little bit too high though. Oh no, that was not what I meant to do. I meant to bring it down 1 meter, not down 3 meters. So I now need to bring it up 2 meters. I've gone about this in a very complicated fashion. That is it. And that would lift all of this up 2 meters. Still may not be enough. But what I could do... I have an idea. It's probably not a good idea, but I have an idea. So if I make sure that that remains flat, I'm then going to decide... There, that is the point that I need to... Oh, that is not the one I want. But I can still pick that. That is the one I want. Right. I'm going to lift this. So at the moment it is at 9 meters. I'm going to bring it up to 13 meters. A train will still fit under there without an issue. I'm then going to bring this section up to the same. That's 14 meters. I'm not going to question it. Right. So, that is the height that it is at. It is not a bad height. I think a locomotive will fit under this. A locomotive will fit under this without any issue, actually. That is absolutely fine. Can you even bring that a little bit higher up? Okay, let's push that a little. Push that up another meter. Okay. Similarly, well actually that side probably, I'm going to push that up half a meter. There we go. And do the same connection, like, or smoothing of the railway there. Will a train still fit under this? Now that is starting to look close. But it still works. Even the largest of engines. Even the largest of engines can fit under that we currently have. Sorry, my voice is all over the place today. Good. So now that it is at that height, can I somehow... So that is at 15 meters. If I can somehow get that to continue climbing, which I can. Okay, this is now showing promise. I can get it to continue climbing, like so. That bit is going to be a bridge of sorts. This is not properly done, so I will have to do this properly in the next video. But I'm going to make an attempt to make that some sort of a bridge. I think cars will be able to fit under that. It is going to be a little tight, maybe a low bridge, but I think cars will be able to fit under that. Now, that is not as great a difference. Autosave telling me that it's time for me to shut up. Actually, I think my voice is telling me it's time for me to shut up, but that's okay. Let me just get through the autosave. Any second now. Any second now. There we go. Okay. So this now goes from being at 21.8 to... Oh no, that is not right, is it? No, but that's at 33. This is 22. How am I going to check this? I think this is how I check it. Instead... It says very steep for train. Well, apparently that is very steep for train. Alright. Apparently all of this is very steep for a train. Trains seem to be handling it. That was at 26, and this is at 29. So we are 3 meters off. But it does mean that is no longer the absolute worst. And if I can push this as far as I possibly can, i.e. up to here, that might just do the trick. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. And I want you to let me know in the comments box below whether that is or is not a good idea. What I'm going to do here as well, so I'll probably put a marker in there. What height are you at? 20.2. Wait, 19.7, sorry. What I'm going to do is try and smooth. It's that side, so we'll smooth between there and there. Okay, well, let's just not check collisions then. There we go. A little bit better. I'm not keen on. I'm very much not keen on uphill sections of bridge, but I will have to see what I can do. And then also, I'm going to. I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but it is just annoying me a little. There we go. Just making that a little bit smoother. Which isn't... Well, that isn't any smoother. How is that smoother? You were supposed to... Well, how have you done that then? Smooth that out. Apparently that is smooth. Optical illusion? Possibly? Who knows? Well, anyway, that is where I'm going to stop this video for now. I will await suggestions. So, oh, I've messed all of that up as well. Let me see if I can get a, do you want the pig in the picture? You know what, we probably are going to have the pig in the picture. It does not really matter. The pig is annoying. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to click on the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series. Leave a comment in the comments box below with your suggestions, ideas. What do you think I should do with that connection up to the freight yards? How should I go about doing it? Or should I just redesign the entire thing and connect it up somewhere else? All of those are ideas that I will entertain. The next video should be the completion of this setup and getting coal running to it. Thereafter, I'll be looking at doing some sort of video in which will be just like 1920 and 1925. I'll be looking at having a look around and doing a bit of a tour, and then we move forward 5 years and we shall be in 1935, where I have an idea as to what needs to be done at that point, and it involves a lot of roads and a lot of power lines. And then after that, of course, 5-year increments all the way. And before we know it, we'll be running intercities, intercity 125s on the network, which I'm interested in seeing how well they run. Hopefully well. Anyway, that is all from me, and I shall see you next time in Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series.